Today is the 15th of January 2019 and I want to paint something different today. I've never painted this scene before. I saw something on Google and I thought, gee, that's interesting. But also today I've decided to paint it in two colours and white. Warm yellow and black and white. Warm yellow is a yellow that looks more like an orange than a lemon. Let's add a little bit of black to that and see what happens. It's a bit greeny. So, first lesson, very little black to move into the yellow to give you a type of olive green. We'll add the white and see what happens there. That's a bit yellowy. Oh, that's okay. An olivey, distant colour. We need a base colour. So let's make a lot of base colour. So we don't have a higgledy-piggledy lot of colours in the background. It's all more or less the same tone, about the same tones of colour, from light to darker. But the lighter one and the darker one are both the same colour. That's a lighter tone and a darker tone. I know I'm going to need a lot of that, so let's make a lot. A little bit of black. That's a bit yellowy. Into the black. So we'll call them our background tones. I'll pick up white and the background tone and start about here. Doesn't matter where you start. I started there because that'll be a neutral area. I want the white down here, so I put it up there just to see what colour we got. We got, well, that's a medium colour. I'll move more white in with a dirty brush down here. That'll give me a whiter tone of that colour. Let's go right down here. I remember this scene from something I saw on Google, and I've lost the picture, so I'll have to make it up as I go along, which is probably better because it's not easy to copy pictures sometimes. We'll fill it in with a bit of colour here, a bit darker up in this area, darker in the corner, and over here. Get this area darker. I forgot my gloves, I'll put them on in a minute. Here. Oh, maybe I don't need it that dark there. A bit of light there. And light here. Oh, that's close to the edge, but we'll see how it goes. Now you fill this in and darker here. A little bit darker there. Clean the brush. There's a bit of canvas I see there. Let's have a light spot there. Now I have my gloves on. With the flat nylon brush I've picked up the same colour, and there's a lot of rocks in this scene. Actually the landscape runs up at an angle like that. So I'll put that in there to give me an idea, and a bit flat at the bottom. And then there's rocks in the distance. I'll just put them in like this. We can just see them, and we can detail them later. Rocks there, and colour this in. And maybe there's rocks or something in the distance there. Way back to here where you can only just see them, but they're there, you know they're there. And there must be light shining through there to give that light on the ground, so give it a few streaks. There, with the hair. Now to fill in the background I've got two little brushes. You see what size they are compared to my finger. One's a little bit bigger than the other. And something peculiar about this thing, everything was jagged, like that. That's not quite what I want. I prefer thinner lines, and there's going to be a lot of them. So I'll put them in as quick as I can. There's going to be a very lot of them. And over the top of these paler ones, there'll be darker ones. going to take me a while. I'll hurry up and get them on. Well, that works, yeah, like a pencil. And lots of darker ones up here in the corner. Try to get darker as I come forward. And the top corners, I particularly want them filled in a lot. And now the top corner the same. I've got a habit of taking my branches up like the Australian gum tree, but these should be everywhere, not just all up. And that'll do for the background for the moment, and I'll just touch our rocks up. There. And on the rocks, there's sort of like moss. So we can come in there with a colour that's a little bit more green on it. Put some pieces here and there. I'll clean my brush here. Make big rocks. Need a bit of dark under them. This one should be brighter, yes, coming in that angle. Now I'll clean my brush again. Now with a bit bigger brush, I want to paint some definite trees. And I do want them sort of jagged and a bit more colour on them. Branches in all directions. Now, that was too dark. Dull it down a bit. There's all bits and pieces hanging off them. Ooh. And in here we'll have some in here. Now this one is the feature. Put him like that. I'm just making this up. And we'll detail it later. Now this brush, I've got black, yellow and white, but not mixed together. And that should give us something like that. And that yellow will soak into the black, I expect, and look like a green. This is where you should practice to learn to use the tools, because it's easy to put the paint on when you can do it. So I can start thinking about what the paintings look like rather than thinking about what's going to happen with my brush. Let's unload the brush here while I have a look. And back in that background we need a bit of colour there. And here, a bit of white. That white will fade, the other colours will fade through it. It won't be quite so bright in a little while. Well, it might, I don't think it will, I think it'll fade in. I hope so. Yeah. I'll just throw the colour on here. And let's add some big rocks in the foreground. And the knife, going to give us a little bit hanging off here. It's hanging. A little bits here, there. I'll go back to using the brush, get some darks there. Dark here, very dark. And light. Everything from dark to light. It's looking rather abstracty, which I don't mind sometimes. And down this side of this tree, near this tree, we need to come out here with something big, like that. Tree, yes, like that. Big blob of paint fell off there. And a bit of colour on the rocks, a bit of light colour. tidy up this area with twigs. Like that. So now I mix a very pale yellow and detail what I want you to see first. And here, this area down here and across that one, down this one, a bit more white on that one. Let's have this one come forward, and along here I'm going to have a white line like that to get your eye to look back into there. Let's join that up to there. Here, across the top of this rock and down that side, and this rock. I'm careful not to have anything facing out of the picture too much. It's quite a higgledy-piggledy picture. Around there. I'll sign it. And take the masking tape off. And you can come and have a closer look. Well, that's not a beautiful work of art. Oh, it's okay. But it's a good example of how you can just throw your paint on and enjoy yourself until you learn to use your tools to use those fine lines and all. I didn't go to a lot of trouble with this painting. It would take me about 4 times longer if I wanted to paint those fine lines very neatly and everything. But you can do that and enjoy it. And the main thing is to keep the white into the background and don't use the dark colours until you get well into the foreground. And when you're finished, just put the light lines, the white lines along the bits of detail that you want to see. Okay, I'll see you again later. Thank you. Bye.